Good morning, Keith Hayes with Mirador Television out of the White Hart Hotel in Lewes in East Sussex, and just topping up my coffee before we get launch into the vagaries of this Monday morning, the 13th, Monday the 13th. Thank God it's not Friday the 13th. We've had enough problems, haven't we, with our country, with our society, with our environment, you name it, we've had it. And it is 8:31. It is February in the year 2023. And as I just said, it's the 13th, Monday the 13th. And the temperature outside is just a little above 1 at the moment. Well, actually, it's 5. And it's mostly cloudy, they say, but there is some sun peeking through at the moment. And the temperature is going to rise to 10, at least 10. And it's going to hover about that all week. So the threatened snowstorm and big freeze, it doesn't look as if it's going to happen. But then again, anything can happen with the weather, can't it? That's why we talk about it all the time. Okay, shall we see what's going on? Let's start with tweaking the tails of the naughty guys.
Well done, the energy companies. They're full of bright ideas to help their customers. Now they've made power so expensive that for an average house such as this, you can't afford to heat it. So you don't need appliances such as this. But that means you also don't need a fridge, because you can keep your groceries cool and fresh without it. The house is cold enough. Well done, chaps.
Well, there you are. I love tweaking their tails because they really aren't playing ball. They are just greedy, hugely greedy, paying chief executives and various other officers of the companies exorbitant amounts of money for doing a not very good job. I mean, actually, according to our expert Stuart Dolby, is really over the last 10 years they fucked it up. if you'll excuse the expression, so early on a Monday morning. And it is about time that they were brought to heel. But this government won't. This government is just greedy itself, I'm afraid. It just can't keep its fingers out of the till. It may seem ridiculous, but for somebody who loses their seat at an election to be given a 150 grand golden handshake and a medal, it just shows you how they are totally out of touch. And not only that, but all their policies of the last, globalization and bigger is better and so on, are not going to pass. If it comes to something big, if it comes to my Parkinson's, then the efficiency is not bad. I actually get to see my consultant regularly, and things are done, and stuff is followed up with. But if I want to find out if I've got anything new, and I used to have regularly, once every 6 months or so, a blood test just to see. No, I haven't had one for at least 2 years now. Not 2 years, and nobody has even suggested it. And to cap it all, the last time I was in, I said, I see that you're pushing shingles and have a vaccination. Yes, they said, but you're over 80. Yes, I said, but I was told that I couldn't have it until I was 80. No. You can't have it over 80. Well, that's how they're getting things screwed up. I'm afraid that whole issue is out of control, and it is just being badly run. And that's down to even our local council. Heavens to Betsy, there's a piece in Lewis Eye, if you can get hold of that. Well, you should be able to. It's online, outlining the farcical nature of the planning applications that go ahead. And I keep on getting stuff through my door, posters and newsletters and so on, from each party claiming what they've been doing about the bus station. But in fact, it's Lewis District Council, under the leadership of our past recent mayor, Stephen Catlin, who they're the only people that registered a strong protest against it. They had a petition of some 800 plus names. None of the other political parties or the district council or the county council, did they do anything? No. And yet all those political parties claim that they did this and they did that. Nonsense. Absolute rubbish. What they do is they talk to themselves and they persuade themselves that they've done these things. They don't actually do anything. We need reform. We badly need reform from top to bottom. And I'm not necessarily a fan of his, but the only person that has suggested it has been our former Prime Minister. Yes, Boris. He's the only person that's come up with it and said this is going to be. The rest, they don't want to spoil the gravy train. Goodness gracious me, no. Can't spoil the gravy train. Oh, well. Let's go on to let's go on to see what's going on this morning. It's a very mixed bag today. There's nothing clear in the papers. But the Times started out with water firms are to be spared the threat of 250 million fines. They have been they've been busy pumping raw sewage into lakes and rivers and the sea for God knows how long. And everybody says something must be done about it. So at long last, somebody does something about it. The regulator slaps 250 million fines. And what does the government do? They, oh, no. Oh, that's far too disproportionate. It is not disproportionate. It is too little. These people pay no attention when they're making billions in profits. 250 million pounds is almost barely the salary of their chief executives. No, 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 no. Oh, the government says no, no, no. We can't actually slap their fingers. What absolute rubbish! I mean, this is typical of our leadership. Our leadership is at the lowest ebb that I can ever remember it. I can't say that I remember much about the first few years of my life, so let's say in 70 years. It is the worst leadership that I've ever experienced in 70 years. The eye, Sunak facing a Tory rebellion over the sewage in UK rivers. The eye says, oh, let's see what the eye says, Sunak is facing a Tory rebellion over sewage in the UK rivers. It says he faces defeat in the House of Lords over his bid to scrap clean water regulations. A number of the papers from the front pages have focused on the issue in recent days. Oh, here we go. We've got a prime minister now who wants to scrap clean water regulations. Let me tell you this. Oh, yes, let me tell you this, because this is actually one of my favorite stories, but it's true. In the 1850s in Lewis, we had 63 pubs and 17 breweries, with a population of approximately 9,000. They went making coffee. The reason that there were so many pubs, well, there were two reasons, really. One is because housing in those days didn't have the benefit of sealants and all the other things that keep heat in and cold out. So people would go to the pub just to keep warm. But the most prevalent reason was that the water was poisonous. If you drank water in Lewis, you would die. So people drank beer. Even children drank beer. The breweries made a form of mild beer for children to drink. And it was all because the water was poisonous. So what have we got? We've got a prime minister who has decided that he's going to scrap, or at least lighten up, dilute clean water regulations. Yeah, thank you very much, Prime Minister. Once again, head up your own you-know-what. Wealthy you-know-what. Yeah. And it's not good enough. It is not good enough. Now, let's go to a good old James Bond type thing, shall we? I've We haven't got one at the moment of the chairman of the BBC, but the pressure is growing that the present chairman, Richard Sharp, should step down because he was instrumental in getting a loan for Boris, I think it was, for £800,000. Oh, that's a lot of money, isn't it? Yeah, and the Metro says it's a murky business. BBC Chairman Richard Sharp, after a critical report from MPs into his appointment at the corporation, should step down. And the report says that he crossed the line. Once again, he did things that are nasty. And the things that have been going on behind closed doors, the naughtiness is, everyone expects a certain amount of corruption, a certain amount of nepotism, a certain amount of this, that, and the other once people are in power. Or when they're in opposition, they always charge the government and those in power with being naughty, and then the moment that they get into power, they're naughty themselves. Witness, for instance, the row that the governing coalition, if you want to call it that, made about the cabinet system for local government. How iniquitous it was awful. So the moment they get into power, what do? They keep it. Why? Because they suddenly realise that they've got a lot more strength over the rest of us by keeping that system than they have if they go back to the old system where actually councillors had a say. Right? Yeah, so it's only in our own backyard as well. But in this particular case, they want to have the chairman step down, and I think that that's right and proper. I don't know much about this Richard Sharp. I don't think that the BBC has had many good chairmen for quite some time. So it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. But if you actually use your position and your availability of funds for a prime minister, and then you get the job, yeah. I didn't put my name up for nomination, but I've probably got as much credit, street cred, when it comes to broadcasting as he has, probably more. Could I stand a chance? Not bloody likely. I couldn't give Boris 800,000. I gave his dad lunch late last year, and that's the closest I came to any sort of form of bribery when it comes to the BBC. All right. The Guardian is saying that there is huge waste on government credit cards. It is a Labour Party analysis, mind you, of government spending, is that spending on government-issued credit cards has risen by 70% since 2010. Its front page also carries a story about pressure on BBC chairman Richard Sharp, saying that he believes he acted, but in his defense, Richard Sharp says he acted appropriately. Oh God! I mean, if you're pretty naughty, never mind. There's no. I wasn't so naughty that I should be sacked. What's so naughty at that level? At one time, if there was a smell of scandal, you would step down. Not today. Oh my goodness me, no. I'm not going to give up that money. I'm not going to give up that power. I'm not going to stride, and apart from which they'll give me a gong for it. And that's another thing that, I'm all for people being awarded knighthoods and being given OBEs and MBEs if they earn them. But they don't, in the main. They are given out like lollipops. The lollipop brigade. I think if I was given an honour at the moment, I would want to hide it. I would be so ashamed because people would think that I'd got it under false pretenses. Probably would. But actually, when I match up what I've done for my community and what I've done for the country, and what I've done for charities and so on and so forth, is is I actually match up against the best. I don't notice that anybody is offering me a knighthood for it. Oh, dearie me, no. My name isn't even in the frame. Not that I want it. Don't misunderstand. All I'm saying is that you just got to be part of the establishment. You just got to be part of the establishment. I would love them to actually give out an MBE to some guy on Skid Road who'd shared his sandwich with a starving vagrant. I'd much rather see that. Those are the things that should be rewarded. But who's there to notice them? Who's there to record them? No. They're all getting on with what they do best. And that is give one another pats on the back. For what? Complete and utter bloody incompetence. That's what. If you've got a medal and you've got a thing out of your name, the chances are you got it because of incompetence. No, I'm sorry. I'm besmirching the good works of people who've got it honestly. So that's a generalization. But there are more civil servants who actually they actually list who they expect to get, no matter whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. Absolute rubbish. And the credit cards. The Mirror goes back to COVID. A bit of a different take on the nurses' strike on the front page of the Daily Mirror, with the paper speaking to workers who suffer from long COVID. NHS staff sick with long COVID now facing losing their jobs as Tory ministers cut off support, the paper says. Well, once again, another scandal in Westminster. No, we don't pay them. What we do is we give ourselves 150 grand each. Care crisis. Which paper is it? The Express. Care crisis deepens, leaving elderly at risk. Okay. Desperate pensioners are struggling to get the crucial support they need as Britain's care crisis deepens. A number of today's papers, say on its front page, carries an image of actress Jodie Comer, who was among the winners at the first gender-neutral What's on Stage Awards on Sunday. You can't make it up, can you? Oh, the arts in the broadest sense, as bad as the people in charge at the top. It's gender neutral. What's on Stage Awards? Who gives a ring? Are they any good? That's the point. Never mind their gender. Are they any good? Because actually, a lot of the stuff that has turned out to us now is rubbish. Absolute rubbish. Not watchable. No matter which medium you're talking about. That's the woke brigade. This is a woke-free television station, by the way, until they actually find out and they come to try and shut us down. Not enough people watch us yet, but we're growing. Every day we're growing. They'll catch up with us. The Sun. Thanks a million, it says. And the headline, thanks a million. And lest we forget, well, we won't forget, will we? It's just too recent. The Sun leads with its campaign to raise money for victims of the earthquake in Turkey and Syria. A report, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has praised its readers after they raised £1 million. Well, there we go. That's the Sun. The Daily Mail. Now, this one is really very frightening because for some reason, no, I'm sorry. This is the society that we become. I don't agree with what you're doing, so I'm going to try every way to upset it. Listen, I've heard all the bloody arguments about Brexit. People voted. It was a surprise result, but people voted. and we voted to come out of the European Union, and we've come out. But no, there is a secret plot to unravel Brexit. The Mail leads with comments from Lord David Frost, who warns a plot to undermine Brexit may be underway after leading Remainers held a secret summit on EU relations. It follows a story in The Observer over the weekend about Remainers and Brexiteers, including Michael Gove, meeting to discuss Brexit. Well, if that's the case, those people should actually, to be quite honest with you, what I would do is I would charge them with treason. They are undermining the state. If they want to overturn Brexit, they want to change, then what they do is they do it in open forum. They do it in the way that we do it in this country. They do it according to our constitution. And we are a constitutional monarchy with all the safeguards that brings and the settled type of governance that it brings. To 9 other countries in Europe, a constitutional monarchy, all of them with settled societies. No revolutions, no armed forces in the streets trying to take over the government. It's a good form of government or governance. But what do we have? What do we have? No, we have people who go behind closed doors. They use their position. And this has got to stop. It has got to stop. And it starts at the grassroots. It starts at parish councils and then works its way up to the very top. I'm just an ordinary citizen. I have no special privileges. I get little in the way of help to run this television station, or well, I'm glad I don't actually, because it means we can be independent. We can actually shout the odds. But secret plots here and secret plots there. Greed. And like children, stamp my little feet if I don't get my own way. So I'll go into the closet, and I'll shout and I'll scream, and I'll think of the way that I can undo it. You silly lot, you stupid people. And most of you are in some sort of position of leadership. Leadership balls. I am fed up with leadership in this country. It is weak. It is powerless. All it worries about is how much money can it stuff in its own pockets. And it's time it stopped. It's time we got back. I hate to say the way it was, but we had, in the middle of last century, the idea of duty to our country, duty to our society, duty. As President Kennedy said, in the middle of the last century, early 1960s, before he was assassinated, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Well, there's little, if none, of that around anymore. And you can see it in everything that's happened. No wonder the country's in a mess. But all we do is we cry about it. Oh, we can't do this and we can't do that. Why? Because we haven't got the people in charge who are capable of leading us to do these sort of things. Leadership is lacking at all levels. All levels. But if those people, those good, respectable people who put the kettle on when they get home from their office every night, sit down and watch the television and pick up a check at the end of the month, could care less. They do nothing. It's all our own fault. The Star. Phew la la, declares the Daily Star, reporting temperatures in the UK will be warmer than in Paris on Valentine's Day, which is tomorrow. Oh, well, there we go. That's the sort of heat that we like, isn't it? Yes, indeed it is. Now, just a couple of things that locally, not a great deal of stuff, but there's an underrated high street. It says in Shore, lots of pubs, cafes, and so on. Life in the well, we don't want to know about that. Now, this Sussex World War II graveyard, where British and German are buried, is a churchyard nestled in a quaint West Sussex village, is completely steeped in history, home to World War II graves, covered barrel graves, and yew tree. It's arguably the most unique in Sussex. But in the 12th century, the country church has been renovated multiple times to include stained glass windows and Victorian pews. The font is a relic of Saxon England, while the roof timbers have remarkably remained intact and well over 800 years. Well, I approve of all that, but I'm not sure that it's really a big story. Crewe's Battle House fire. There is, I think it's just a kitchen fire actually. Crewe's in Eastbourne Residential Road after a kitchen fire in the house. Somebody's kitchen set on fire. That's easily done. And firefighters were on the scene, but nobody was hurt. And it all seems to have gone away. Right, here's one that we should be aware of. Let's just see where it all happens. Shouldn't we? Oh, there we go. Right. It's a Brighton predator is jailed for a sexual attack which he made 40 years ago. Paul King, age 63, has been sentenced to 8 years in prison for a serious sexual attack almost 40 years ago. King appeared at St Albans Crown Court for sentencing, having previously pleaded guilty to indecent assault and attempting another serious sexual assault following an incident in Stevenage in 1983. He was sentenced to 8 years in prison for each offence, which will run concurrently. He will also be placed on the sex offenders register. The court heard how one late February night in 1983, a teenage boy was walking on a snow-covered path in Stevenage when he was approached by a man and sexually assaulted. So there we are. That's the more or less what we've got in terms of the papers, both national and international this morning. So a mixed bag, really. Yes, a mixed bag, but just the main one as seen by the pundits is that the Chinese spy balloons. There's Chinese spy balloons and the sewage into the water is the water companies being let off the hook, and both pretty outrageous things. It just shows the state of the world that we're in. How very, very sad. How very, very sad indeed. Well, that's our news review for the morning. We're going to be back at 9:30. There we go. There's the nice back to look at. We're going to be back at 9:30, and then we will take a look at one of our episodes from the bloody past of a tiny town, just to remind ourselves of where we live, the historic nature of our surroundings, and how we're sitting right on the backside of history by living and working in Lewis. As you are, we'll say a toodle pip. We will indeed. And let's see. How do we say toodle pip? I know how we say toodle pip. We say toodle pip.